Welcome back. Um, very excited for this episode. I actually got a name for it. It's about financials. I'm calling it From Stress to Stability. Um, I love telling stories. So here, let me tell you a story that will kind of segue into the financial discussion. So one thing, if anyone really knows me, knows that I'm a planner. I plan ahead. Um, for instance, when we did our 10-year renewal ceremony, I started planning that the day after our 1 year anniversary. If there's anything like anniversaries, birthdays for my wife, I start planning those the day after the previous one. So, you know, we'll, our 19 years coming up, I already started thinking about the day after our 18-year anniversary. So, I'm definitely a planner. It's something where people tease me with sometimes. People say, "Oh, you overplan." I don't. I was always raised like my dad always taught me and told me about Murphy's Law. So I like to plan. Surprisingly enough, one thing I never really planned with or for is financial stuff. Um, just never really did it. I would probably say throughout my life, I've probably made almost every financial mistake you can probably think of. Um, and yeah, you live and you learn. Um, so I had got a new job in 2021. And then at that point, I was like, I was 37 years old, didn't really feel like financially I had prepared for the future. So I was like, let me reach out to like a financial advisor. I sent inquiries to three places. I'll only let you know one of the names, but I sent to three. The first one that reached out was actually the last one that I had reached out to. I just did like a Google search and I just did them in order of how they popped up. So the name of that company that responded is Carson Wealth. Um, they have an office somewhat local to where we live. I reached out. We had a nice kind of intro call. They kind of gave my wife and me some homework. And when the other two places finally reached out, I really didn't respond. I responded. I just basically said, we're going in a different direction. It took one conversation um, with Carson Wealth and the team that we were working with to really know a, a few things. Uh, One of those things was that they were the ones, hands down. Um, they explained things to me in a way that for me to understand it. Um, they wanted to figure out and wanted to know what our goals were. Not short term goals only, but short term, long term, future, the whole shebang, everything in between. They get to know you, they got to know us. Um, so, um, so we talked with them. We we start working with them. They assigned us just kind of some homework that we needed to do. And me, like one, I don't like to waste time and I don't like to waste money. So I'm not, and I don't like to waste my time, but I also don't want to waste anyone else's time. I know we weren't their only client, so I was going to take it serious because I'm like, hey, they have other clients they could be working with, so I'm not going to disrespect them and disrespect their time. Um, and it took us very early on um, to really know that they didn't really just look at this as like a job. Like outside of like family members and close friends, I had never really talked to anyone who cared so much about my family and me and our future the way that they did and the way that they do. Um, So again, that was 2021, almost 5 years ago. Um, Still working with them to this day. Um, they always give us credit for the work that we've done and the work that we've put in, but I always kick that credit right back to them, um, because we wouldn't have been able to do it without them. I am a stubborn person when it comes to like finances and stuff. I think I know everything, or at least I thought I knew everything. And I was the type that if I saw something, um, then I would get it. Like if I could, I would get it. Um, I used to never put a price tag on my wife and my kids. I have since put a price tag on my kids, but still, and my financial advisors know this, I still don't put a price tag on my wife. And that's not me trying to say I'm rich and that she just gets everything she wants, because if you know my wife, she doesn't really ask for much. More on that later, but I don't put a price tag on her. And by not putting a price tag on her, is basically that's me saying if I've decided this is something I want to get her, whether it be for anniversary, birthday, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, or even just like a hey babe, I love you, love you gift. Um, it doesn't matter. Um, you know, I just I won't put the price tag. I'll get it, and if I just kind of need to plan a little bit, I will. Um, but financial stuff, and I am in no way a financial advisor. I work with my financial advisors, but I still leave that to them. They are the experts. They've taught me a lot, um, and I've been able to use what they've taught me to help, uh, you know, put my family and I in a better situation that we were that not probably that we were in like when we met them, for sure. But I don't want anyone to take anything from this and saying, well, Tony said this, Tony said that. No, I'm just telling you basically my story and how it worked out for us. um, Getting a financial advisor was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. One of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, hands down. I probably put it just below marrying my wife as far as like one of the best decisions I've ever made. Um, and the proof is in there. Um, I started out with them to where, I was sending like a weekly spreadsheet to them tracking what was spent and everything. And people I had talked to was like, oh, like, what are you doing? It's like they control you or something. No, they don't treat it like they control me, but they ask what would help you. And I say, okay, well, this is the kind of person I am. So, that helped. Did I like doing it? No, I loved doing it, because I love sending that on a Sunday evening. And then Monday morning, I'm getting that email saying, hey, good job staying within your budget. Good job, you know, with everything else you're doing. Like, you want to know that, and you like to hear that. At least I like to hear it. Um, and I feel like everyone has their thing. I know I do. So my thing, and anyone that really knows me, is shoes and movies. Like purchasing like DVDs and Blu-rays, and and then definitely shoes. So one of the first things my financial advisors had to help me with, um, was the way I buy shoes. And the reason why I say the way I buy shoes, because so my shoe obsession, I would probably say, came from when I was a kid. And being a father now, I get it. But of course, when it's happening to you and you're a kid, you don't get it. My dad refused to buy me like the shoe brand I wanted. He was, I'm not going to go and spend all this money, and then and then your feet are gonna grow in a couple of months. You need a new pair. So when I got on my own and became an adult and stuff, I had like a little list of like the no's. So it's basically all the shoes I wanted when I was a kid, and my dad said no. I was like, okay, I gotta get those. Now, by all means, when it comes to shoes, I don't just buy any shoes. That's not me. I buy the shoes and the brands and the players I like. But yeah, there was one year um, I went a little crazy, and by when going a little crazy, I basically bought two pair of the same shoes multiple times. If you ever see my wife, please don't ask her about that because whenever she sees my shoes, she never points out the shoes. She just always points out the ones I have duplicates of. So yeah, but I remember I told my financial advisor that, and it was so funny. Now it was funny. It wasn't funny then. She stopped smiling. Which she always smiles. She stopped smiling and she was like, "So Tony, what was the purpose of this? Like, are you gonna wear one and then keep one like unworn?" I was like, "Yeah, that's the plan, but I probably won't do it." She was like, "Then what was the point?" I had no answer. You know me, I typically always have a response. I had no answer because as I was saying it out loud, it started not to make sense to me. So that following year after I did that, I won't tell you how much I spent that year. Um, but that following year, we had a goal, and the goal was a monetary goal. So it was don't spend over this amount on a pair of shoes. So if you know me, basically that was a challenge. So with the challenge, I'm competitive. So boom, goal achieved. Came under that goal. Then the following year, the goal wasn't on how much I spent, it was basically on the total amount of pairs that year. Boom, goal met. Now, was that one hard? Yes, it was a little hard. I had to basically pick because I had to basically pick. So there were some shoes I had to like, yeah, nope, can't go after these because these ones that come later, um, I know I'm gonna definitely want. So I had to pick and choose. Um, and now we have it at a point to where tracking shoes really isn't a goal now because I've got it like under control. Movies, man, um, my wife gets on me with that. We'll be out, I'll see a movie, and she's like, "Oh, what's that about?" I was like, "I don't know." She's like, "Oh, uh, why are you getting it?" "Oh, such and such is in it, and I like this actor, I like this actress." She's like, "Oh, okay." Um, she's dealt with that almost 19 years. Um, but everyone has their thing. Like with me, it's shoes and movies, more shoes than movies. Some people it's traveling, some people it's designer shoes or designer handbags. Um, you know, it could really be anything. Um, what I would tell you is, or my, not really my advice, but just my thoughts. Um, Figure out what your thing is, and if that's your thing, go for it, but be smart about it. Um, if traveling is your thing and you're like, hey, I want to travel, I want to do 3 trips a year, I want to do 2 trips a year, plan for it. Budget for it. Because like what my financial advisors taught me is, obviously live your life, but don't live outside of your means. Um, I will forever be grateful to Carson Wealth. Um, I don't see a time and place where I wouldn't be working with Carson Wealth. The team that we have worked with, throughout these 5 years, they know us. Like they know how to ask like how our kids are doing by names. They've actually met a couple of our kids where they did like financial presentations for them with them, about to join the workforce. Um, we have like scheduled meetings, but it's not like I can only talk to them during the meetings. Uh, I can send them an email And and I'm that type. I'm always thinking of the future. So I'm always thinking of, ideas. I think how I was raised, the American dream was always basically just get rich and never have to work. And I mean, that's a good dream to have. Um, but in most cases, is not realistic. Um, but just where we were and where we are now, total opposite. Um, some of the things that I've been able to do off of their teaching, off of their advice, off of their guidance. Um, so I had in mind, I had a dream car I wanted to buy. I wanted the Tesla Model X. Um, Test drove it, very spacious, um, approved by the wife. And if you're married, like if you get approval by the wife, you go with it, because that's golden, especially my wife. Um, because I come to her before I reach out to my financial advisor. I always run my ideas by her first, and she just looks at me sometimes, just like, you thought about this while you were sleeping. Why didn't you actually sleep? My mind never turns off. Um, so yeah, wanted a Tesla Model X. Um, and then it came time talking to my financial advisor. Was like, hey, this it's a good, yeah, you can move forward with it. And again, if you know me, I want what I want, and I'm going to always find a way to get what I want. It's just typically how I've been. But with working with my financial advisors, when it came time when I was about to go through the ordering process, I didn't get the Model X, um, because one, I couldn't justify the payment that I would have had to make. Not that I couldn't make the payment, I just couldn't justify it. Two, the model that I did get had a tax benefit, um, that helped out. Three, I also had an amount in mind that I wanted to spend per month, and I actually came under that amount. Um, so I looked at it that I still got my dream car because I wanted a Tesla. Um, the paying for it didn't cause a strain. Um, you know, and I got the color I wanted. I didn't the same options I was going to get in the X, I was able to get in the model I got. Got the color I wanted, which was a very nice red. I named her. My wife always laughs, especially in the beginning, because I would say the name of the Tesla, and she would just be like, "Who is that?" And I was like, "It's not a girl. It's the name of the Tesla." And she was like, "Yeah, stop playing with me." She was like, "It's a car." I was like, "It's more than a car." But that was one thing that my financial advisors helped me. Another thing they helped me with, which I spoke on a previous episode, our Vegas trip. So again, we went to Vegas the week of June 8th. I booked the flights and our hotel back in October of 2025. Um, we had money set aside for the trip that included spending money while we were there. Um, uh, what else? Paying off like our hotel balance. And one of the goals we had this year was no additional debt because of the Vegas trip. Check. Came back and actually, had a little more left over. Um, Now, my financial advisor says, "Hey, Tony, you did a good job, but I say no, that was them, because I made decisions while we were out there just to make sure we didn't go over, but we didn't sacrifice stuff we wanted to do. We didn't get to catch a show, but it had nothing to do with the money. It just had to do with the timing and just other stuff that was kind of a priority. So it wasn't like oh, we couldn't do this because we didn't have the money. No, it's just we had bigger things we wanted to do. And it gives us something to look forward to if and when we go back. We have other places we want to go before circling back to Vegas. But definitely on our list of like a part two at some point. But again, financial advisors help with that. Um, you know, credit cards. Oh man. So credit cards are what I like to call like a silent financial killer. Because there's people that can have credit cards and be very disciplined with them. My father was one of them. Oh man, he would have credit cards and he wouldn't use them. And if he used them, he pay off it. Once the bill came, he paid off. He didn't want to deal with interest. Or if he had like he could transfer to like a no interest for 18 months or 12 months, and then he paid off within there. Man, I was like, but so you have people like my father who could do it, but then you had people like other people that credit cards are just a silent killer. Another thing my financial advisors helped us with. So what my wife has kind of dubbed me as like the air conditioning killer. In our townhome, I think the first we moved in there in the fall, so we didn't have to run the air. And then summer came the next year, and I don't do well in heat, so I think I put the air on like what was it 65? It was like 65. Boom, conked out our air conditioning. So then, a little less than 10 years later, we upgrade, we move into our single family home, um, and did the same thing. It was hot, turned the air on, boom. It's something we had to deal with every year since we've been here. Beginning of the summer, we had to get like the refrigerant, I think, or the coolant, whatever it is, refilled. It lasts us through the summer. So it's basically putting a band aid on it. And then finally, we got to the point, it was what, a couple of years ago, I think in 2024, where we just like, we had to get our AC unit fixed. Like, we basically had to get like kind of a new unit because the unit we had wasn't big enough for the size of the house that we lived in. So 5 years ago, I would have stressed out, wouldn't know what to do. But in 2024, because we have been with our financial advisors almost 3 years at the time, and the work that they helped us with and the work that they helped us put in, um, we were able to get basically a new AC and heating unit, um, and it didn't put a burden on us financially. Um, you know, I could really talk all day about all the stuff that our financial advisors have like helped us with. Um, so I won't do that because again, I could talk all day, but they've helped us so much. Another thing they helped us with, I'll do two more because it's very important to me, and also my wife. At this time, because she's not going to co-star on this episode, she has given me the proxy to speak on her behalf just on these two things, only these two things. Anything outside of that, I do not have her approval. So the other two things our financial advisors helped us with: tax time. Since we had moved to PA, we could never really figure out taxes. I just don't know what it was. Um, we used to get to tax time and be so stressed, where a lot of other people get to tax time and they're like, yes, like can't wait. Nope, wasn't us. Couldn't stand it. Couldn't figure it out. Um, one PA is different because you have like a local tax, which I think is basically it's like the local income tax or earned income tax. Basically, you have to pay taxes to have a job. Make that make sense, but it is what it is. But yeah, tax time used to be so stressful. We told them that. So obviously they had some time because we told them it's kind of like right in the beginning. So they had about like a year to really just work their magic. I can't tell you what they did, to be honest. I won't sit here and try to believe that I understand what they did. They explained it to me, and it's not that they didn't explain it. It's just like it's still just like wow to me. So I'm just like I'm not gonna try to figure out. Just do your thing. We got to a tax time to where now tax time is like we're just like we definitely know what to expect. Um, we're never really just like caught off guard. 100% that's because of them. And then the last thing, the not the last thing they helped us with, but basically just the one last thing that I'll be talking about, that they helped us with, Christmas shopping. So again, I go back to where I said I didn't used to put a price tag on my kids. You know who did put a price tag on the kids though, and I can say it because she's not going to appear on here to defend herself. But please believe me, I'm telling the truth. My wife. My wife will put a price tag on them kids, 100%. Um, Daddy does, Daddy doesn't, but Mama will say no in a heartbeat. I think she said no more times in one day than she said yes in her entire time being a mom when it comes because they get crazy and it took me a while. But Christmas time, so again, financial advisors ask kind of like what bothers you, what stresses you out. Tell them Christmas time. I would just basically we would whenever we started going we would start our Christmas shopping. We would uh just do it then. We just pay for it then. And then they said two words to me that I never knew existed. I knew the words existed, I didn't know they existed together. They said Christmas Club. What's the Christmas Club? It's like basically you at the beginning of the year, January, you put money in, like you don't have to set up to an automatic deposit. You put what you want in monthly, whenever you want. You can put stuff in every day, weekly, bi-monthly, whatever. And then it basically matures in like October of that year. So 2 months before Christmas. And then boom. So you have your Christmas money. And I'm thinking, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, hey, I'll try it. But I know how I spend with the kids and I know how they do their Christmas list because I swear my kids, when they do their Christmas list and when they did their Christmas list, I thought they used to think I was moving weight or something, which I do not. But I'm um, like you got Kiki, who's like my electronic person. You got Ariel, who is like a mini model or something because she wants every single thing of clothes that you can think of. And then you got Tristan, who always wanted like these samurai swords from like Japan, that would take like 2 months when we were ordered off of Amazon. Um, so we did it. I think the first year we did that was maybe like 2023, 2022, 20, maybe 2023, I think. We got to Christmas time and we had enough to get certain things off their list, but then also get them like stocking stuffers. But the key to that was when we wanted to start shopping in October in the past, we'd be using our paychecks. And when we started that Christmas club and we still do it, the money's already there. So then the discipline that I've learned is just don't go over it. Just don't go over it. Um, so what I'll say is to anyone that's thinking about it, has thought about it, getting a financial advisor is huge. Um, but what makes it even greater is if you go to Carson Wealth. They did not tell me to say that, but I stand by what I say. Um, Before we move to end this episode, you know me, you should learn by now. I always have like a top 10 list. I got two for you this time. Uh, my first top 10, and I listed them, I numbered them, but they're not really in any particular order. But I'll still count backwards. But the first top 10 is, when it comes to like finance and stuff, is what I initially thought. This was pre working with our financial advisor. Um, so let's get started. Number 10, I used to think wants and needs are equals. I used to think essentially that wants and needs were the same things. Um, Number 9, I used to think I didn't need to budget. I just need to make lots and lots of money. That's what I thought, because it's how I've seen it in society, how I see it in shows and movies and stuff, where it's like I don't really see or hear about budgeting. I just see like, hey, you just make a lot of money. That's the budget right there. Just make a lot of money. Um, Number 8, credit cards are my friends. That's what I thought. Um, yeah, they're not. Uh, Number 7, I think ties into number 9. Um, but I basically thought a high salary guarantees financial security. Um, Number 6, that you need to be rich to invest in the stock market. Again, kind of going back to kind of number 7 and number 9, I just thought that you had to have lots of money to invest in the stock market. If you don't make much, or you pinch pennies, or whatever the situation is, like basically you got to be you know a millionaire or above to really invest in the stock market. Um, Number 5, uh, paying the minimum payment is okay. One That's another thing. Like, my financial advisors taught me. They had me look at one of my credit card bills and was like, "You see how it says if you pay the minimum payment each month, this is how long it's going to take you to pay that off." And I was just amazed, and not in a good way, of what I read, but amazed in a good way that no one else had pointed that out to me. But then also taking responsibility for myself, that it was a bill that I could have just looked at, but I didn't, because I just really looked at, okay, well, what I owe, and boom, go from there. Number 4, that I'm too young to be thinking about retirement. Um, I used to think that you have to be in like your 50s or 60s, or basically in retirement age, to actually think about retirement. That before you reach that, you're too young. Um, Number 3, that if you leave a company and have a 401k, that you have to take the money out. I didn't know that you could take that 401k and move it into an IRA, which, depending on your age, if you do take the money out, that has tax implications. You know who taught me that? Financial advisor. It was one of the first things they taught me. It was one of the first things I asked, because I didn't know. Um, Number 2, that financial advisor only for people that are rich. That's what I thought. I thought that, again, you had to, be a millionaire or on the cusp of being a millionaire, to have financial advisors. That, if you're part of the financial minority, that you can't have a financial advisor, because it's like you don't have enough money to have a financial advisor. Um, and number 1, what I used to think was that I could handle it. I used to think that I could be my own financial advisor, that I can be my family's financial advisor. And it took me all of talking to my financial advisors maybe 2 minutes before I realized I didn't know nothing. And it was okay. The reason I say it was okay, because I was able to admit that I didn't go in there and try to dispute anything they said. I didn't go in there and say, "Oh, well, this is what you're saying, but this is what's worked for me," because obviously nothing did work for me. Um, you know, Now I'll do the top 10 things that I've learned, kind of through this like financial journey. Um, Again, not really um, in any particular order, but I just numbered them anyway. Um, for the purpose of making a list. Number 10, financial health is equally as important to physical and mental health and actually can affect both as well. Um, I think that's key. I think financial health is an actual thing, um, because that health is your future. So that financial health is how prepared are you for the future? How prepared are you in the what if moments or the oh crap moments and stuff like that? Because let's be honest, this is the real world. This is real life. There are going to be those oh crap moments. And we've had those, but I can tell you the oh crap moments pre working with our financial advisors were a little bit more than just oh crap moments. Since working with our financial advisors, those oh crap moments have just been really just a quick discussion of here's what I'm thinking. The plan is aligning with our financial advisors or them like saying, hey, this could work, but also here's another option. And then we just all get on the same page and then we go out and do it. And then we're not as stressed or even stressed at all. Um, Number 9, at a minimum, your contribution to your 401k should be what the company match is because that company match equals free money. Never looked at it that way, was never really told to me that way. But you're right. So if you work at a company and they say 401k company match up to 4%, at a minimum, if you can, obviously this is if you can, everyone's situation is different, but if you can, at a minimum, do that 4% because then you're getting the 4% company match. So that it's basically free money. Um, and that over time, depending on how long you stay, and that's another thing, even if you only stay there 1 year or 2 years or 5 years, like, still look at what that has meant and what that could mean and what that could do. Um, Number 8, planning for the future is huge. And that was something that surprised me that I had to learn because, again, going back to the beginning, I've always been a planner. I always plan ahead. I always over plan essentially. Again, like I said, our 10-year wedding renewal, I started planning the day after our 1 year anniversary. Why did I do that? I'm glad I did because I suffered 3 layoffs in almost 5 years. In the midst of that, I was still able to pull it off. But if I had started planning a year before or 2 years before, I don't think I would have been able to pull it off. And that was something that I needed to do because it was a promise I had made to my wife. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in a later episode. But planning for the future is huge. Number 7, you should put a price tag on things because everything that is sold has a price tag on it. Again, I don't put a price tag on my wife, but she kind of makes me put a price tag. I think I've gotten a little better. And the reason why I say I think that is because she's not on camera to basically tell me that I'm lying and tell you guys that I'm lying, that I have not gotten better. But I think I've gotten better. But yeah, you should definitely put a price tag on things. Um, Number 6, you can still get the things you want. You just have to plan for them so it doesn't derail your progress. And that's huge to us because we've made so much progress in these almost 5 years that I don't want to go back to how things were. Um, and I try to make sure any financial decisions I make doesn't put us back in a place where we don't want to be. Um, so I still get the things I want. Do I get them right when I want them? It depends. If I can get it when I want it, then I get it. If it doesn't make sense for me to get it right there when I want it, if it's something where it's like, you know what, this is a bit decision. Let me pull in the wife. Let me pull in the financial advisors. Let's work out a plan for this. Then I do that. I didn't do that 5 years ago. For the most part, my wife would just know I had gotten something because I would tell her. Obviously, it's like I didn't keep it a secret, but a lot of times it was like after the fact. And then, but she just kind of knew like he has this thing. Like her thing is coffee. Like I, I, yeah, coffee's her thing for sure. Um, but yeah, so you can still get the things you want. Um, Number 5, if you do the work and care about it enough, you can eliminate your debt. we you do not have to stay in constant debt. Um, in a way, that can be a mindset, and it's a very mindset, a bad mindset if you do. Um, and it was a mindset that I used to have. And by meaning staying in debt, I mean I was just always getting something. And then if I couldn't pay for it outright, okay, just put it on the credit card. Then not realizing that, it's something I teach my kids now, my girls, because, they're at that age. And I'm just like, look, you might think because you're not paying for it right then and there because you're putting on the credit card, but you still got to pay for it later. And then if you don't pay off that complete balance when you get it, then interest gets tacked on it. So if, depending on your interest rate, if you spend $100 on something but you don't pay it off completely, and then they tack on interest, you're essentially paying $120, $130, whatever the interest charge is for $100 purchase. So, think about that. Um, Number four, wants and needs are not equals. Um, I need to eat. Obviously, I need to eat food, but wanting to eat at a nice restaurant isn't a need. If, I need shoes on my feet, but, the wants are was different. And that it took me a while to learn that. Um, so I'm happy like I learned that because thinking wants and needs are equal. It's not a good mindset to have. Number three, a financial advisor is essentially a financial doctor. It's basically what it is. Like that's how I look at it. That's what I've created my learning experience around. It's just like, hey, um, I mean, I go see my doctor. I get a health checkup. Um, if people see therapists for like a mental health checkup, I see a financial advisor for a financial checkup, um, and it's helped. Number two, budgeting is basically financial planning, and again, I love planning. So why I was never doing that in the beginning, I have no idea. But budgeting does get stressful sometimes, just because if you're budgeting for like an entire family or entire household, um, but it's not the budgeting part that's stressful. It's just making sure everyone has what they need. um, you can live your life to get some of the wants you want. And then of course now, with me getting bit by that travel bug, now I gotta add travel to like life experiences and stuff. But yeah, budgeting is basically financial planning. And then the number one thing that I learned, which I think I've said numerous times, is I didn't know anything about finances. Everything I thought I knew nothing. And that's okay. It's okay because of where I am now from where I started. Um, and again, I know I've done the work. I know my wife has done the work, but we were able to do the work because of what our financial advisors have taught us, have instilled in us, have worked with us, been patient. I'm a stubborn person, and finance was always those things where I'm really stubborn with. I didn't really want people trying to tell me or advise. Like my dad tried for so many years. Um, I can't count the number of conversations my dad and I had, about like financial stuff where I just like ignored it just because I felt like his situation wasn't the same as mine. Not felt like, I mean, because that's what it was. His situation wasn't the same as mine. Like, he didn't have to worry about things like daycare and, just stuff like that. So it's like, why am I going to listen when our situations aren't the same? But learning what I've learned over, these last 5 years. It's funny to where I have some people that actually reach out to me for like financial advice. And again, I always preface it with I'm not a professional, so I can only just tell you what's worked for me. Um, and what's worked for me is one, having a financial advisor, two, not making decisions on my own, um, three, realizing that something my dad always told me. My dad said, never worry about where you are today, worry about where you are 10 years from now. And that's key too, because I don't want to work until I'm 70 or 80 years old if I live that long. Um, I'm one of those folks that really, in a perfect world, and I think probably anyone would say this, if I could hit the lotto tomorrow, retire and just kind of travel and do things, oh, I would love to. But, again, like I tell my kids all the time, um, you know, you're rich when your money works for you, not when you work for your money. Um, so a lot of the stuff I thought I knew, I found out quickly that I didn't know. And I'm okay with that because I know a lot now that I didn't know 5 years from now. I mean, 5 years ago. Sorry. Um, but that's what I had for today when it comes to like finances and stuff. Um, if you ever want to consider a financial advisor or if you want to know more, don't hesitate to reach out to me. But reach out to Carson Wealth, give them a call. I'm not going to say the names of my financial advisors, but I can let you know um, for sure if you are looking to do that and you go to them, you won't be disappointed because we haven't been. And anyone that knows me really knows how loyal I am. Um, I mean, the same person that's been cutting my hair has been cutting my hair for 12 years. Um, you know, I'm just loyal. Once I find someone or something that like is good and is a good vibe and stuff, I just stick with it. Um, but it's good that we got with a financial advisor and it's good with the stuff they've taught us and the progress we've made and everything we've been able to do. Um, because we have some plans that we've been talking about, um, that we hope can come to fruition. Uh, we have, I think, a newly discovered 3-year plan that I won't, we won't be discussing because one, I don't, if you know me, I don't like to put too much stuff out there because then I'm always scared. Then if it doesn't come true, then it's like a letdown. But we got some plans, we got some stuff we want to do, and of course, we still want to travel. We got some places um, we want to go, but one thing we're going to do before we go on those trips, we're going to plan for them. We're going to budget for them. We're going to make sure that going to these places doesn't derail our progress, doesn't hinder our future, doesn't take away from providing for our kids. But hope you enjoy the episode. Um, there'll be a new episode next week. I haven't decided which one it's going to be yet, but I'll probably do one that will bring my co-star back because some people seem to like my co-star more than me. I've told her she becomes a fan favorite. She is fired. Um, so just keep that in mind. But hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope everyone had a happy and safe 4th of July. And we'll see you next time. Have a good one.